Come on. Each time you would see him and his dog out walking, you'd say, can't say which one's gonna die first. They were just ancient and old.
I know where he wants to go if I take him a walk. Ramza. When we go, I get a cheese, bacon, burger, and a small drink. He gets 3/4 of the meat. I get the bacon.
I think they live for each other. I think the dog is alive because of Loren, and Loren is alive because of the dog. He had a pug, and it was a 2-year-old non-neutered male dog, and so the dog saw another dog on the opposite side of the street and took off running. And when the dog took off running, a car hit and kept going on.
Figured that older dog would be better for me to walk with than a young one.
Sometimes they're kind of an overlooked animal, and I think that's a little bit sad. And the reason they're somewhat overlooked is everybody's in that excitement for a new pet, and people just, by natural tendencies, I believe, tend to look at puppies and kittens.
I was looking for a pug. If I hadn't found him when I did, I was going into huskies. I had a German Shepherd, a boxer, 8 or so huskies, a pug, and now a pug. Well, maybe 15 dogs.
I think it's wonderful for seniors to have pets, and I just think the companionship that it brings to them gives them some of the energy and some of the zest to go on with life. The emotional attachment there and the desire to care for that creature is very, very strong. You know, somebody who is all alone and maybe in their last few years here on Earth, if that companionship disappears, their zest for life or their desire to go on themselves diminishes.
That's a bit. I get your supper just when I get mine. That's what I know what you want.
Loren's been coming to the church I pastor for, I would guess, a little over 7 years, and he can really talk about animals. Absolute animal lover, loves dogs. He reads everything he can get his hands on in terms of animals. He knows certain patterns of like penguins and in Antarctica, and so he can really. If you start talking with him about animals, you can have a very extensive conversation with him.
You ever see Judas goat? Well, at the slaughterhouse where they butcher sheep, they have a goat that leads them in. So he goes in the door, he goes to the left, he goes along the edge of it, clear around, come back to the door. When the last sheep gets in, he jumps out. So you see, that goat, he sees the sheep that Judas did the Lord. So he'd be called a Judas goat.
One thing that's kind of interesting tidbit about him is Loren's never married, and also from the best of my understanding, he's never been to a wedding. And we keep saying that we've got to get him to a wedding, because the guy's in his 90s and he's never been to a wedding.
He probably would have been a pretty shy guy. I don't think he would be extremely outgoing. My thought is he probably just, the right person in the right situation never came along.
I've been here in Lincoln since 60. And I don't know where I'm staying.
Interestingly, he had 4 siblings, 2 of them married. Their spouses preceded them in death. None of them had any children, so when Loren dies, he's the end of the Gerisher line.
My brother's gone, my 2 sisters are gone, and I'm the only one I know of in the world carrying the last name.
He'll tell you from time to time, he'll say, "You'll come over here to visit me one day, and Marty and I just won't be here. We're just going to go down there to the rail yards, and we're just going to hop the line and end up where we end up." And so I don't have the heart to tell him that we're not really rail hoppers anymore.
Well, Molly, you're going to make a few more years.